I was laying in bed at 3:35 in the morning. I was under the covers, with a pillow over my head. The fan can be really noisy and cold sometimes. I think a screw is loose. Anyways, I was desperately trying to get back to sleep. Why was it so cold tonight? Everything felt different around me, not in a good way. I felt like something was watching me while I lay there in bed, but I shrugged it off, thinking of how silly that would sound if I told someone that. I could hear faint thumping downstairs, like someone was walking around. Every few seconds, I would feel the slightest vibration of movement downstairs. Sometimes I wish my hearing wasn't so sensitive. Just when I thought the thumping had stopped, I heard the loud and clear creaking of the hallway floorboards, the sound it distinctively makes when someone is walking over it. There was no doubt about it, there was someone there. But of course, they were smallish footsteps. One of my sisters must have had a nightmare and is wandering to our parents' room for comfort. But I know my siblings' footsteps very well. These footsteps were alien to me. They didn't sound like how they normally sounded. Then suddenly, halfway through the hallway, they just stopped. Like they were right next to the mirror on the hallway wall and staring right at my bedroom door at the end. To be honest, I was pretty freaked out, thinking that there could be someone or something there that I am unaware of. I just tried to push that thought out of my mind, and tried really hard to get back to sleep and forget about this. After some time, I did fall back to sleep, but not for long. I soon reawoke to a loud crash. I yelped in surprise and hid deeper under my bedsheets. All went silent. But that wasn't a good thing. There was someone in the house, creeping around, trying not to attract our attention. Finally, I decided to do the last thing I thought to do. Investigate. Hesitantly, I climbed down the ladder of my bed with sweating palms and a heart that felt like it was about to burst out of my chest. I picked up the flashlight on my desk. Switching it on, I slowly opened the door to my bedroom, peeping my light through, scanning for any signs of danger. Luckily, I saw nothing there. Although the light from my flashlight lit up most of the hallway nicely, I still felt as if the darkness was choking me. The floorboards creaked softly as I tiptoed over them. I looked up to the ceiling to the attic. The door to it broke off its hinges a few months ago. Since then, it has been wide open, and I felt less and less safe at night as time went by. I didn't like staring up into the dusty old attic for long periods of time, but tonight I thought I saw a glitter of light. That sparked my interest. The lights don't go on in the attic, and no one has been up there for a long time. This aroused my suspicion that something is definitely up. To be honest, I felt kind of excited. This was like a real-life horror story investigation thing. But I eventually remembered what I was doing wandering around the house alone at night, and focused my attention on the windows and doors. The windows above the staircase and the bathroom were open. I noticed this, as the door to the bathroom was open too. That thing is normally shut. Wondering how I did not realise this before, my little sister's bedroom door was open too. I began to get nervous. I peeked through their door, and the window was also wide open. At that moment, a sick feeling struck me. The front door. The front door was indeed open. All windows and doors in the house were always locked at night. No smashed windows or anything. This was not a typical break-in. Then, as quietly as Quick would let me, I darted downstairs and closed the door, locking it tight. Without thinking of the possibilities that the intruder could still be inside. As soon as it was locked, I just stopped. I stared at the wooden door without moving. I could hear screaming in my head. I felt a presence behind me as my hair stood on end. I dreaded what would happen if I turned around to make a dashing attempt upstairs and out of this madness. But I could not just stand here forever. Taking a deep breath, I swiveled round on my heels. To my surprise, there was no sign of another living creature. not caring if there is one or was one, I bolted upstairs into my bedroom, shutting the door tight and scampering onto my bed and under the covers. It took me a while to calm down and regain myself from that trauma, and eventually I collapsed into a deep sleep from sheer exhaust. The next morning, I asked my mum if she heard anyone walking around last night. She said no, she hadn't heard anything suspicious, and said I was being paranoid. But I knew more than certain that I wasn't. The day ran as it normally would. Nothing paranormal or creepy happening. Everything was fine, as if nothing really had happened at all. Until that night. It was about 11:11 p.m. I have been in bed for hours, trying to settle myself down enough to fall asleep. I've been continuously talking and chattering to myself about everything and anything. I've been continuously talking and chattering to myself about everything and anything. I'm still a little bit traumatized. From last night. But finally, I began to comfy up in my pillows and shut my eyes. Even though the darkness was all I could see, whether they were open or closed, I felt safe at last. Like the buzz from my fan was the last thing I'll be hearing tonight. I should have known better. I should have never went to bed in the first place. I should have warned everyone before it was too late. In the darkness, I heard a low and slightly distorted unknown voice say in a whispered tone, "All the doors and windows were open last night. Don't worry, I came inside and closed them all up."